uh, having an YouTube application installed and several other application installed into their devices. And I just want to give you a reality check, and within couple of minutes I would be able to deliver all these things to you. So when we have these such of applications, we'll talk about the security of iOS and Android for at least for 5-10 minutes before starting this, so you can get an overview what we are going to have a discussion in this entire webinar. So you need to understand one thing: when you have any application installed, they ask for several permissions and you give several permission and all that. That's one side of a story. And you have a YouTube application installed, and have you ever realized when you open a YouTube app, you are getting some results into your YouTube application related to some of the things which you are talking with your friends or your family, or some other communication which you were having a conversation in your family, not on your phone, just like you are randomly talking. Let's say we are talking about something related to cyber security. So might be from tomorrow or after 2-3 days, definitely your phone start, I mean your YouTube application will start promoting you the result related to cyber security. This is very common. You are talking about something, some movies or some, Arabic nasheed, definitely you will get a result into your YouTube, even you are not searching for it, how it is working, how it is happening. Have you ever realized how it is giving you something relevant which you were talking with your friends or your family or having a conversation?
Because of
Definitely.
the artificial intelligence, it is
Yeah,
working.
exactly. Basically, our phone is consistently these applications, such kind of application. These are notorious application. They use our microphone continuously, and they capture few of the words, like okay, the keywords, and they in the back end there's a complete science is running like a AI, and they just keep on improving all the things on the behavior of a user. There are so many things involved with it. On based on that user criteria, on based of that user behavioral activities, they present him that such kind of result. Similar kind of thing is with the Apple operating system, but when it comes to an Apple operating system, it is compared to Android, it is much secured. The one reason is uh, that it's block third party application, which is not, we can also block third party application in Android, but somehow we can enable that, and there are expert available in the industry who can easily bypass such kind of stuff. But when it comes to an Apple operating system, the third party applications is by default blocked, and we cannot install any third party application until and unless if the phone is jailbreak. So that is the one thing. And don't flow the flow. The reason is, I'm not saying that Apple is the most secure. Definitely there are so many breaches in Apple operating system, no doubt. Apple operating system is already compromised several times. But when it comes to the user privacy and other data, so that's what I'm talking about. It's provider security. But when it comes to an Android operating system, when a third party application is installed in our phone, definitely we have no idea what is the behavior of an application. For normal users, they have no idea what is the functionality of that application is. Let's say you have installed application like Subway Surfer or Angry Bird, which is one of the most famous gaming application for these Android and iPhone. So when you install these application, they require several permissions, like your camera, your mic, and you know uh, gallery, contacts, messages. Why there is such a reason for these applications to require these things? This makes no sense. Mean the time when you are playing the game and you are interacting with the application, and even you are not interacting, these the data of your phone is uploaded to the cloud or a third party remote server. You have no idea. Your identity is available on the internet in dark web somewhere, available at a price of $1 to $10. Okay, this is the one thing. So now my thing is not to make you, make you feel worry about this, but it's just an overview about cyber security, like what actually cyber criminals and these attackers actually do. Similarly, like these tech companies has a lot of security developed for protecting the user identity, but somehow still they are not giving the 100% assurance to the user uh, when it comes to in terms of security. Okay, there are many big tech companies, but still they are not fulfilling the 100% security. Their security gets breached several times. Like say recently, like couple of years back, one of the 16-year-old teenager guy hacked into Apple server, and he was into the Apple server for more than 2 months, and he was able to download the data of the user. Okay, same goes to with other tech companies. There is a list of data breaches. If you go on Google, Verizon data breach, Apple data breach, Yahoo data breach, and recently one of the traveling company data was breached. So the companies are still not able to fully protect their and their data. That's the one thing. Another thing, this is the reason, this is not only a one person job, or a security person has to deploy all these security policies. There is also a developer is also responsible. If the code is not written in a proper manner, definitely it leads to a compromise. Okay, let's say I design a program and I have few bugs into my program, and I am the developer of that program, and I hadn't designed that program in such a way it is having numerous bugs. Definitely when it comes to a security tester, what hackers or malicious users look for, definitely they look for errors. When any application is generating error, they always find out the error is the most beneficial thing for them. That's a win-win situation for them, because error gives them something which they are looking for. Let's say you are a Windows user and you are trying to log in into your window, but you are entering a wrong password, and your system will prompt you, please enter the correct password. Definitely it's an error. With the help of that error, you understood that you are entering a wrong password. So when you are entering a wrong password and a system is giving you a, pop-up message or a notification, definitely you will try some different combinations of password. So similarly, this error helps hackers or malicious users to get into, to breach any system applications, because they come to know that okay, at this point of a time, this function or this parameter is giving me this error, so I need to bypass this thing. That's a win-win situation for them. So it's depend a complete teamwork. All right, so we'll start with art of securing the network. Definitely the presentation which I have designed, it's an art. It requires skills to protect the networks. There are, because in network there are so many things running. We have servers, we have access point, we have endpoints, and we have other valuable IT assets into our network. So in order to protect, definitely we must be quite familiar and quite understandable with the art of securing the networks. All right. So this is a small introduction about my profile, what I'm doing and what I usually do, my day-to-day activities, my expertise, and technical certifications which I have completed so far. And in when it comes to the training, basically I'm a full-time trainer, a corporate trainer. uh, for my company, I'm handling overseas client from Europe and from US and from Asian countries. And the training which I have delivered so far, the number could be less over here. And right now I'm pursuing for one of the another IT certification exam, which I'll reveal later on. So now we'll start. What we're going to talk into our today's presentation is that introduction to cyber world. That's a complete, you have a little bit idea, but we'll go into a different aspect of cybersecurity world. Then we have a domain of attacks, different types of attacks we have. And definitely if we left with enough time, definitely we'll see one small attack as well for live demonstration. So basically, in cybersecurity, the first thing is always when a company is looking for is loopholes. For a hacker or a malicious user, what they usually look, they always find the weakest point to get into a network. Let's say, uh, for an example, just give me a minute. I need to, I cannot annotate on the screen. I need drawing. All right. So the thing is, always attackers use the weakest point to get into a network. Let's say you have a broadband in your home and you have a Wi-Fi. There are different security standards for your Wi-Fi. The WAP, WEP, which is almost outdated and no one use in the industry. Then we have WPA and we have WPA2. And now in industry by 2021, we will get those Wi-Fi router which supports WPA3 as well. But right now we have the routers and the Wi-Fi we have up to supportable up to WPA2. So WEP, which is known as WAP, is considered to be, please mute your mic. So yeah, WEP is considered to be the weakest security, I mean, weakest wireless security standard. Okay, means if your Wi-Fi is configured with WAP, within 48 seconds or 50-second maximum, a hacker can get into your network. He can break out the Wi-Fi cable. It is considered to be the weakest. That's why it was discarded from the industry and WPA was introduced. And after that, WPA advanced version of WPA, which is known as WPA2 was introduced, which is having some more security parameters into it. So always hackers find out the weakest link to get into your network. It could be your wireless, it could be your server section, it could be your LAN area. It depends from where they are getting into it. But their main concern is to find out the loophole. Let's say if some hacker wants to compromise a web server or a website, what he will be looking for? He will be looking for a weakest entry point. Let's take an example of a mall. We have a mall in Bangalore. Let's say we have a big mall like Garunda Mall. Okay. So if I want to get into a mall, which is the most, I mean, the less secured area, definitely from basement or from the exit point, people try to get in. These are the less secured area where we will going to find a few people or a few security people available on these exit points, and from that point people get an entry. Means the people who have malicious intent, they took entry from these points. I'm just taking an example. So similarly like this, if I want to compromise a website or a web server, definitely I would be looking for a weak point to get into a website. Definitely it could be a link of a website, definitely, which allow me to upload something. I can use a shell technique to get into a server, or might be they have few ports open. That could be FTP or telnet or some other port which is having a which might be having a password which is not up to the security standard, so which allow me to get into their web server. So this is how I try to find out the loopholes, and this is a very common mechanism used by cyber criminals in order to get into a network or in order to compromise any web application or any web servers or all the things which is connected to the internet. So this is one of the first parameter which comes into a cybersecurity, finding a loophole. After that, there would be an assessment of vulnerabilities. Now, I believe you are quite familiar with the vulnerabilities. Those who are quite familiar with the vulnerabilities, just type Y. And those who are not aware with vulnerability, please type no. Just drop me a message into the chat box. Okay, 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 okay. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Fast, fast, fast. Okay, so now I get a ratio So the thing is, vulnerability, it's something like, which allow me to compromise a system. I'll take a very basic example for this. In India, we are big fan of cricket. Okay, big fan of cricket, and especially when it comes to cricket, we are a big fan of Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, and he already took his retirement from his cricket career, but I'll take an example of it, which I have heard. I am not a cricket fan that much. So what I realized, and I'm putting this into an example. Sachin is a very good batsman, and he used to play a different technique shots and all that. Now, when any bowler bowls him a bouncer ball, he's not able to play. Okay, so similarly, Sachin can play any sort of ball, but when it comes to a bouncer, he's not able to play. So that is the vulnerability of Sachin. We know that Sachin is not able to play a bouncer ball, but after he's not able to play a bouncer ball, that is his vulnerability, means that is his weakness. So similarly, like whatever the weakness resides in any system, that is the vulnerability. Okay, there are many players, might be they are having different sort of vulnerability. So that term is refers a weakness into a system refers to a vulnerability. Like a Wi-Fi. In Wi-Fi, we have WEP security standard. If we have set our wireless key to WEP, means my system is vulnerable because I am using the less secure security standard protocol when it comes to the security. So definitely my system is vulnerable. Why? Because any hacker, any guy who is having a knowledge related to air crack suit, he can get into my network within couple of seconds. Means my system is my network is vulnerable, my network configurations is vulnerable, right? So this is known, this term we refers as vulnerability. Now together with vulnerability we have assessment. Now when it comes to finding all the vulnerabilities present in a network, because one thing you need to understand, network is a very big thing, which is a combinations of so many devices. There will be endpoints, which is user devices, laptops, iPads, Android servers, network printers, access point. Lot of IT devices will be present into a network. That's make a network. Now definitely the server engineer is responsible for configuring the server configurations. Network engineer is responsible for configuring routers, switches, firewall, and other networking equipments. Similarly, the system engineer is responsible for configuring the system policies. So definitely everyone has their defined roles and responsibilities. Now there might be a mistake, a server engineer or a network security engineer hadn't applied the security policies properly, or might be they are using a very less secured password for their protecting their network configurations or for protecting their server configuration. So now a team will definitely will make a complete scan. In that scan they will have a look. Okay, we find this server is not fulfilling the entire security standard. This router is not having the proper access list configurations, or proper, what it is called, so the one of the thing it use the proper encryption algorithm for passwords exchanging. Now this will give a complete map. It's like you need to understand one thing over here. Means basically assessment of vulnerabilities, I'm figuring out total number of devices. Let's say I have 50 devices in my network and I'm scanning all those 50 devices, and after completion of my scan I found 20 devices is having vulnerabilities, different sort of vulnerability, because might be my networking devices will be having some different vulnerabilities, my servers will be having some different vulnerabilities, and the list goes on. So that's these 20 vulnerabilities, I figure it out. That is my assessment of the vulnerabilities, means my network is vulnerable. Now, after figuring out the vulnerabilities, what would be my next task? What should be my next task? I will try to exploit them. Okay, because as a security engineer, I want to make my network as a bulletproof. Okay, So after assessing all the vulnerabilities, our team will be there in a company in-house team, or they might outsource a team from external resources, and they will give them a complete plan and all that. We are just cutting to the short. Now my task is to exploit. Basically, exploit means, now everyone know Sachin Tendulkar weakness is a bouncer ball. Now who will gonna bowl him a bouncer ball? That's the question. Which bowler we need? Okay, I only know few bowlers name, like Broad or Bretley. These are these. So who will gonna bowl them? Who will gonna ball to Sachin Tendulkar? That's the main task. Now I figure out the vulnerabilities. Now my main task is to how to exploit these vulnerabilities. Let's say I figure out a vulnerability in a Windows system. So according to my Windows system, I need to look for a exploit available in the market, or I have to use my own custom exploit. Okay, the people who write their own custom exploit, they are known as exploit writer. And if you want to look for an exploit on the internet, what exploit look like, I'll just give you an idea about exploits, how it looks like. Exploitdb.com is one of the website on which you will going to find the latest database of the exploits available for all the system, means whichever systems is vulnerable. Over here, let's say we take a Windows. Okay, I'll just use Windows, and over here you can see red marks. Dr. Saab, could you please enable the annotations I can draw on the screen? I think might be some control is off from your
Yeah,
end.
just a minute.
Yeah, sure. So if you can see right now, verified, right now, these are not checked. Okay. So if you have an expertise, definitely you can check this website running against the target system.
Please
But
try now.
okay, just give me a minute. Still, I cannot.
It should be. You have the controls now.
Mm, no, I don't have. Sorry. So the thing is, Windows Media Center 2002 XML. This is a name of an exploit. Now we'll definitely look into exploit. Let's say user access protection bypass. This was a vulnerability found in year 2019 of November. Okay, but the date was 20. Okay, last year it was founded. Now, how exploit looks like? It's a simple piece of a code, but it's a malicious code. That's it. It's a simple piece of code written in some language like C or C++. Now, see, this is a complete exploit written, and this is a code. Those who are quite familiar with the programming, they can easily understand what this exploit will gonna do. But those who are not, they don't have to be worried how I can use this code to run against a target machine. Definitely there are various things available in our Kali Linux platform. Metasploit is basically exploit kit, which is having all these exploit into that exploit kit. So you do not need to be worried that you need to learn all this and you need to copy paste or somewhere. It's not a rocket science. You just need to use an exploit name. You need to provide an IP address of a target machine, and if the machine is vulnerable, definitely you will gonna be able to hit that machine. You will be. So I have a video available after this session. I'll share it with you how I exploit a Windows 7 machine using an exploit, even without user was not aware about this, that his machine was already compromised. So coming back to our things again. So we completed till exploit. So basically exploit is triggering the vulnerability after assessing. Now, after that, when we figure it out that my system is vulnerable and we exploited the system, now it's time for to apply the security patches on the system. Now, what is security patches? We'll take a small example. Uh, you every Tuesday, every month of a Tuesday, Microsoft release some security, not security updates. I'll say just only the updates. Okay, every month of uh, Tuesday. I'm not exactly sure, but every month in a Tuesday, first week or second week, they release some updates for your operating system, and your system automatically start downloading them. And after that, it asks you when you need to install them. Have you ever realized what type of update it is? Those who are aware about this, just type yes, and those who are not aware, please type no, N. Please. All right. Yes, no, yes, no. Okay. Basically, when Windows release, or any or most of the uh, like your Android, like Google release some operating system, like updates for your Android operating system. Similarly, Apple also releases operating system updates time by time when it is required. Similarly, Microsoft also releases. So definitely these updates consist of two things. The first thing is that optimization of your system resources, proper functionality of your system. Let's say something is not working properly into your system, that's because of the Microsoft service. So for that, they might release an update. That's the first thing. Second thing, there are a lot of researching keeps going on. There are so many cybersecurity engineers which keeps on looking for vulnerabilities into an operating system. So when they find out some vulnerabilities exist into a Windows operating system, then they report to Microsoft, and accordingly Microsoft prepare a security patch for it and release for it user. Okay, means those security patches consist of a loophole, means sorry, to patch the loophole which was present in your system. In your system there was a loophole present which you were not aware. Okay, how you come to know? Only after when Microsoft release a security patch for that. All right, so I'll just go back on my control panel and we'll go into a Windows update. So over here, a Windows update. I just find it, Windows updates. So over here, if I find out window update, inside window update, history is over here, view update history. Okay, to 2011 update for this one, let's say security update. Yeah, on the third, you can see a security update for Microsoft Excel 2013. So in my laptop, I am having Microsoft Excel, which is version is 2013. So let's open it, and it will redirect you to on a Microsoft official web page, and it will give you an overview about the exploit. This security update resolve vulnerability, some remote code. Yeah, of course, I was aware about this remote code execution. If users open a specially crafted office file, means, let's say I am a hacker, I am a malicious guy, I created a file in Microsoft Excel and I send it to you across the internet, and when you open it, definitely that program, that file, not sorry program, that file is having some specially crafted code into it. How to add it? Definitely there is a thing, there is one very advanced thing used in Microsoft Excel, sorry, Microsoft Office, that is macros. In macros, I can program my malicious file or whatever I want to do. So when I send it to you, when you open it, definitely once you open it, your system will be compromised and a remote connection will be there from an attacker machine to the victim machine. So time by time, these services and these security patches is released by Microsoft and all the these vendors, so that in order to protect the user data and a lot of stuff. So that's why they release the update. So I would suggest you, I would request you, please, when you have these things, please make a timely update for your system, because in cybersecurity, when you're working for an organization, your daily roles and responsibility, if you are working at an intermediate level, you need to apply the security patches. You need to make sure every system is with the latest operating system version. All the softwares are up to the updated to the latest version. Antivirus is installed with the all the latest definitions. So many things are there, but these are the few things which you need to make a note of it. Now after that, there will be a complete, this is an entire process, the assessment of vulnerabilities, loophole, exploit, and then applying the security patch. It is known as penetration testing, which is a one of the key player in a cyber security. This is a emerging field in cyber security, and there is a huge demand of penetration testers in IT companies. Previously, what was a scenario? The scenario was like this. Previously, company used to outsource the penetration testers. Now the companies are having their own in-house teams for testing their entire network. Okay, previously they need to hire these people, these experts, and in a period of 4 months or a 6 month, now companies are having their entire team in-house. So every month or every 2 months they have these series of tests needs to be conducted in an organization to verify our system is secured, our network is secured or not, with all the latest security patches and all these things. So basically, what is a penetration testing team work? They do all these things. They find the loopholes, they assess the vulnerabilities, they trigger the vulnerabilities, which is me which means exploiting the vulnerabilities, and then they apply the security patches. Okay, this is the entire process executed by a team, by a penetration testing team. That is the one side of a story. Another side of a story could be like this. I have a company and I have my cyber security team, not a penetration testing team. I have my cyber security team, or I have a team of security professional. So they figure it out loopholes, they assess the vulnerabilities. After assessing the vulnerabilities, they exploit it and they apply the security patches. Now after applying the security patches, they come to the senior manager and they said, sir, we have applied all the security patches, now our system is 100% secure. So what now company will gonna look for? They could hire a third party or a third company to conduct a series of security tests on their network to figure it out how much still their systems are vulnerable, their network is vulnerable or not. This is another side of a story. Am I clear so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just drop me a message if it is clear so we can move to the next slide. All right, keep going, keep going. Okay. Now we have varieties of attacks. Okay, we have network side attack, which is executed on the network side. Okay, one of the best example for network side attack is that, let's say you are sitting in a Starbucks or any cafeteria and you are using a public Wi-Fi. Definitely it's a public Wi-Fi, so a few other users are also using the same public Wi-Fi. Now you have no idea, among those a few users there could be a malicious guy sitting between, connected to that public Wi-Fi. Now you are surfing the internet and you have no idea the guy who's sitting in that same public network is sniffing your entire data with the help of some tools available on the internet, which is open source. You do not have to pay a single penny for that. You can use a EtherCap, you can use a BetterCap. There are a lot of tools available in the market free of cost on GitHub. Okay, you just need to go uh, clone those repositories on your Linux machine or your Parrot operating system, and you are ready to sniff the network. Definitely you require a little bit of understanding about a network before that, but it's not that much a rocket science. You need a lot of understanding and all that. So now your entire data is being sniffed by an attacker. So that's a basic example of a network side attack. You are in office, you are using your laptop or a desktop or a mobile phone, and you are connected with an office Wi-Fi. You have no idea an employee who is working in an office turns out to be a bad guy next day. Okay, and he might start sniffing the data of the users inside the network, inside the company. That's another example. So now, in order to protect yourself from network side attacks, definitely you have to use a VPN. Okay, not a free VPN, at least spend some money, $5 or $10. Client side attacks, basically these attacks requires action from a client. These attacks are very common, like a phishing attack or malware attack. Because let's say if some attacker wants to compromise my machine, so definitely he will be delivering me a malicious program file. And now what is required from my end, definitely he require my action, means I should click on that file. Once I click on that file, definitely he will be having a connection with my machine to his machine located on remote side. That's a client side attack. Okay, in majority of the cases in client side attack, the user action is required. There are a few cases in which user action is also not required. Okay, that's a client side attack. Phishing is also one of the best example, one of the best attack available in the market. And so many users in India, there are every day around 100 to 200 people become the victim of this phishing attack, whether it comes to their banking account, whether it comes to their social media account. Every day 200 minimum, this is a minimum number user gets compromised with this phishing attack. Now, so many of you might be thinking, nowadays we have two-factor authentication enabled in our account. So how attacker can take the OTP from our mobile phone and he can get into our account? Definitely, it is easy to bypass. I'll not say easy, but it is possible. With the help of reverse proxy technique, he can get into your account even if you have two-factor authentication enabled. With the help of session tokens, he will capture your session tokens and he can get into your account, just like you log into your account. But Facebook is working on this security, and some of what they are successful to detect this attack. Okay, right, recently I have tested on Facebook, and the Facebook company is able to detect this two-factor authentication bypass attack, whereas LinkedIn and Instagram and other websites are still not able to detect this attack. Let's say when the security patch will be available, but so far it's not available. So my kind request to you all is, when you log into any website, check it should be www.linkedin.com, and it should not be following any other parameter. Means what, in reverse proxy they have a similar kind of a URL, and they will be having SSL certificate also into it. So just for your understanding, always you see the URL, it should always be linkedin.com, and it should not be having other parameters with that. And after that, we have server side attacks. What do you mean by server side attacks? Basically the reverse of client side attack. The client side attack is executed on the client machine, whereas server side attacks is executed on the server side machine. And another major difference between client side and server side is that in server side, most of the time, most of the attack does not require any action needs to be executed by the user or from the server side, because the vulnerability reside into server itself. Okay, let's say we have a web server. We have a web server located at a remote place. Now, there are several vulnerabilities in the web server. It could be a database vulnerability, that is an SQL. There could be a cross-site scripting vulnerability. There could be a vulnerability in the server that it is not having the latest patches. Okay, web server, either it is using a Linux Apache or it is using a Microsoft IIS. So definitely these web server application might be vulnerable. Okay, these applications, these server applications are vulnerable. Definitely, if you look for Microsoft IIS 7.5 exploit, and in industry there are so many servers running with this server version. So I'll just give you an overview of that. I figured out one website. Okay, bangaloreeducation.com. This is, sorry, yeah, it's using an FTP parameter over here. I think it's on. First of all, this website is not using any HTTPS, so don't worry, it is not asking for your username or password. And the one thing, what I figured it out in this website is vulnerable to cross-site scripting, and this website is also vulnerable to few other attacks as well. There are so many things which you can collect the information, but one of the easiest thing I'm going to use to collect the information. That is a Shodan. Okay, it's a search engine like Google, but Google gives you a result of all the things, but Shodan give me the result specific to that means devices. Basically, it gives me the information of all the devices which is connected to the internet. Okay, so if I'll give this name, I'm not sure because I never tried using the name, but still let's try, because I usually use the IP address over here for this. So in case of Shodan, let's see, we are getting no result found. So we need to find out the IP address of this website. Let's say trace RTW and the entire name. Remove these extra parameters, HTTP and other protocols, just followed by www, and let's note down 69.16.193.78. Copy. All right. Now I'll just paste this IP address. Okay, this is the server IP address, and let's see what all information we are getting from this server. Okay, Bangalore Properties is another website on this server, and see the list of vulnerabilities. You can figure it out over here. Buffer overflow in Microsoft Information Services IIS 7.5. When fast CGI is enabled, allow remote hacker to execute arbitrary code via. This is one, another. So I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vulnerabilities are present in this web server. Okay, this is the first automation task. I just use this Shodan web server, web browser, not web browser, sorry, search engine, to figure it out the vulnerabilities. But the same thing, when it comes to an organization, they use a manual method and somewhat automation tool like Nmap and vulnerability scanners. This gives the same result, and this search engine is giving me, let's say, 6 vulnerabilities when I'm testing it automation. But when I use my own script to scan this, definitely these 6 will going to be present over there, but I can find more than that. Might be, it could be 8, it could be 10, or it could be 6, but at least minimum 6 I will be there. But because when I'm using my own custom scripts and my manual way of checking, definitely there are other vulnerabilities is going to be come out from this web server. So please don't hack this website. I just took it as an example. Coming back to our slide. Now this is an example of, this was an example of a server side attack. Now this is a 0-day attack. 0-day attack is one of the highest which is considered to be the most what would I say, considered to be the completely ruin the company reputation like this. Because 0-day vulnerability, it is known as 0-day attack as well, 0-day vulnerability, 0-day exploit, sorry, 0-day exploit it is. What it is means, let's say I'm using a Microsoft operating system, and I'm a researcher, I'm a cyber security engineer, and I figure it out some vulnerability into a Microsoft system, and without informing to Microsoft, what I did, I just posted the entire vulnerability on the internet. Okay, now when it is on the internet, definitely there is a majority of user around the globe, more than 70%, who are using Microsoft operating system. So those 70% of user is vulnerable to that attack or not? Absolutely. Means 0-day attack is, or 0-day exploit is, when a vendor is not aware about the vulnerability. That is known as 0-day attack, 0-day exploit. So let's say I am an attacker, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. So my task, if I figure it out, some vulnerability into Microsoft services or any other vendor, my first role and responsibility is to make a proof of concept, deliver it to Microsoft technical team. They will going to analyze this. They will going to figure it out. What is the severity of this vulnerability? How much levels you have crossed to get into a system. Accordingly, they will figure it out, and they will, first of all, definitely, after all the things get done, when they give me a green signal, yeah, we accept this as a vulnerability, they will reward me with some thousand, 5,000 or $10,000. And they will ask me, sir, please, you need to wait. There will be a non-disclosure agreement between Microsoft and me, that you cannot disclose this vulnerability on the internet until and unless we release a patch. Once we release a patch, then you can post on the Twitter that so and so vulnerability, I find it out, and this, because now the patch is available in the market. Now there is no threat, because tomorrow, let's say my system is compromised, so I can sue Microsoft. But now Microsoft can tell, sir, we aware about this vulnerability and we release the patch for this. It is your fault that you hadn't updated your system. That is not our problem. So there is so many things in the backend, but more or less, if you want to understand a zero-day attack, it is simple. When a vendor of that specific application is not aware about the vulnerability, and that exploit is available on the internet. Okay, so if you want to understand, I have an example for this. In 2015 or 2016, I'm not exactly sure about the year. NSA, that is USA. In USA, there is a National Security Agency. They always used to have these different sort of vulnerabilities. Even Microsoft is not aware. Apple is not aware. They have such kind of tools with them. Even if they want to get into my system without my permission, they can get into it. Okay, they have such kind of mechanism. They have such kind of exploit, which comes into the picture in year 2016 or 2015. Earlier, before that, Edward Snowden was the guy who revealed all these negative intent about this company, about this organization, that they spy to their users, their citizens of US. And it's not limited to the citizens of US. They can get into anyone's system without having their knowledge. So one of the exploit was leaked from their internal sources. That was for Microsoft Windows 7, Eternal Blue. Okay, Eternal Blue, it's a type of an attack. It is a type of an exploit which even Microsoft was not aware, that if I'm having a Windows 7 PC and you are an attacker sitting at a remote place, you just need my IP address to get into my system. And the victim does not need to click on any link or any file. Attacker just need to set the IP address, and he needs to click, and he need to type one command, that is exploit. And even if sitting at a remote place, and your system will be compromised within a fraction of seconds, and attacker will have the complete control over your system without even the victim knowledge. So these are the techniques, and these are the exploits used by NSAs. And there are so many exploits available in the market, which is hidden, which is in the deep web or dark web, or available in the hackers forum, which is available at a price of 1,000 to 2,000 US dollars. That is a complete different out of the box things. So this was our network side, client side, server side, and zero-day attack. So this all the things which we have discussed right now is into your cyber security world. Now it's totally depend on you which field you want to choose inside cyber security, because there will be a penetration tester, there will be a malware analyst, there will be a uh, security engineer, network security engineer. There are a lot of domains into it. We'll definitely have a look into it. So there are few examples of client-side attack, phishing attack, malware, fake update, and email spoofing attack, which is executed on the client side. Don't worry, after the session, you will be getting these presentations to your emails. So types of network attack, I have just taken up a few examples of these different sort of attacks. VLAN hopping attack, we have DHCP flooding attack, we have spoofing, we have sniffing attack, wireless key, means wireless attack, brute force attack, DHCP. These are a few examples of these attacks. These are not limited, but these are 5 to 7 attacks, which is very much common in the network, and users are quite familiar with this. But beyond this, there are so high-end attacks as well in the network. Now we have similarly like server-side attacks, exploiting the vulnerability. We have a complete discussion about the triggering the vulnerability. Then we have cross-site scripting. We have brute force on the server as well. Okay, brute force is the attack which is common everywhere, either it's come to a client side or a server side. Basically, it uses a combination of passwords and keep on guessing the password until a match is found. Okay, if the match is found within the password list, then definitely I will be able to log in. If it's not, then I have to use another password list available on the internet. I have to create my own custom list. That's depend. DOS attack, denial of service, servicing, shutting down the services. Let's say for this, I'll give you an example. You all are undergraduates, or might be some are already graduated, some are in post graduation. We have in India, we in college, in universities, we get our result online. So when the day when the result day is announced, like today 4 p.m. Your result will be available on the university website. So what happened when we try to log in on those website, our university, we are not able to access. Why? Because the server is overloaded. Means the server at a time can minimum make 1,000 connection, but at the same time, more than 1,000 users are trying to accessing that server. So server is not capable to serve more than 1,000 users at a time. So that means my server is down. So in DOS attack, what happened? Like your server is getting how more than 1,000 of requests from a single PC. That leads to a DOS attack. But in the previous example, it was a normal thing. Different users from different location is trying to access your web server, and your web server is not able to fulfill the request of all the users. That's why the server is down. But if I want to make an intentionally, I can generate thousands of connection from a single device. That is a DOS. There is another advanced version of DOS, that is DDoS, distributed denial of service. And one of the most common vulnerability you will ever going to find in the web server, that is SQL injection. This is the most common. Most of the website which maintains a database, they suffer from this security breach, security loophole, that is an SQL injection. Okay, for this I'll just not an exam, I'll just show you a small example. This is the website which I figure it out somehow. This is products of this website. Let's say we go on a bag, and most of the times the URL we are, if we are having a URL like this, we can try to figure it out whether this website is vulnerable to an SQL injection or not. So what I need to do, I just need to use a single quote after the one, and I need to hit enter. Sorry. Now, if my website prompt me with this message, you have an SQL syntax in error, in majority of the cases, this website is having a SQL injection vulnerability, and you can dig all the information of this website within couple of minutes. You can do this task by automation. You can use tools available on in the internet, that is Havij, SQL map, or you can do the same thing using a manual method, using the order by, union select, commands after commands. You can do that. So this website is vulnerable. If I give few more statements to this website, I will be getting all the users, entire database of this website. Now this is going to be very much important. This is the entire cybersecurity domain. Now in cybersecurity domain, it's not like that you are stick to one thing. There are a lot of things which you can get into it. Okay, you can become a penetration tester, you can become a ethical hacker, you can become a foreign, if you want to go into a forensic, you can go into a forensics. If you want to be what is known as a system auditor, you can get into. You want to become a threat intelligence, you can get into a threat intelligence. You want to go on some security standards domain like PCI DSS, you want to go into a HIPAA, or you want to go into some you want to go for a ISO 27000. These are so many domains in cybersecurity. You want to work into a security operation center, you can work. You want to work as a SIEM expert, you can work. There are a lot of things, incident response, incident manager, so many things. There is a this is not a pool. Cyber security is not a pool, it's an ocean. Wherever you will go, you will going to have lot of water, and you can swim anywhere. Now if you have these are the more in depth about the explanation of these attacks. Now am I clear to you? I mean, everything is clear related to this attacks and the domains. Okay, ethical hacker. All right. If you have any queries and questions, you can drop into the chat message. I'm looking all your messages, so I'll definitely respond you one by one. Yes, Mansoor, you can drop a message. Yeah, the PPT will be shared to you. I don't think so. Over here, it's an option to directly drag and drop, because I don't know, because I'm not the host, I'm the co-host. That's why I don't have the option to drag and drop. So I'll just give me a minute. I'll just upload this to this upload into a drive and share you the link in a minute. Okay, that would be more feasible. For social media app, what kind of attack is possible? I mean, what you are specifically looking to, like you want to compromise some user account, or apart from that? Metasploit framework is basically a set of exploit, means which I have showed you on exploitdb.com. Metasploit is having all these exploit into it, means a kit, like a doctor has a briefcase in which is having all his equipments related to his medicine, stethoscope, and all the things. Okay, so similarly, my Metasploit framework is having exploits. It is having payloads. Apart from payloads, it is having encoders as well for encryption of my viruses. So it's a complete set of exploit. Another questions I have. I'm completed CH. I'm planning to switch domain into cybersecurity. Definitely, if you have completed your CEH, definitely you have started your path to cybersecurity. I would recommend you go with some networking fundamentals, that is CCNA, routing and switching and security. After that, you can go for your cloud programs, and there are so many things after that. How to start a career in cybersecurity as a fresher who belong to another field in bachelor, which is the best things to start up with as a basics. Definitely we have a plan to start for freshers who want to go into a cybersecurity. But for the time being, from if you want to start, if you are from a non-IT field and you want to go in and you are looking to jump into a IT field, then what you need to do, you need to start up with the fundamentals. Okay, Windows fundamentals, that is MCSA, Microsoft Certified Server Administrator, System Administrator. Then you can go for Red Hat. Okay, then you can go for networking fundamentals. After these three programs, you can start with your certified ethical hacking. It will give you more understanding about the cybersecurity world. Anyone can hack a WhatsApp is possible. If possible, what kind of attack they will do? In the beginning, I told you we are not looking here for this kind of hacking. This is illegal. But yeah, there are certain ways through which you can get into someone WhatsApp accounts. Difference between loophole and vulnerability. Look, loophole is like, a kind of basically, let's say I have a WEP security on my Wi-Fi router. But together with, I have enabled MAC address filtering. Means if anyone break this key and try to log in, try to connect in my network, his MAC address needs to be verified with the MAC address which is in my uh, router list. So the loophole is in my system is that I have set with WEP. That is a loophole. Means attacker can easily exploit, easily trigger that vulnerability. Okay, that is a loophole. Means I can compromise, I can try to compromise that loophole, but I'm not sure that it will going to be compromised or not. But when it comes to a vulnerability, in most of the cases, I can compromise a vulnerability if there is an exploit available in the market. First thing. Second thing, I can design my custom exploit for it. Shodan is basically a search engine which gives me the detail of every single device connected on the internet. Okay, more advanced than Google. Means Google is giving you the information about, let's say, if you are looking for information, if you're looking for information related to a server, Google will give you a variety of results. Some will be relevant and some would be irrelevant. But if you are looking only for the server informations or all the devices connected on the internet, let's say if I want to get an information about my company's server, so I'll just hit the company name, and whatever the results, and if they have servers on their internet, definitely I will be getting the results related to that. You just give me a company name, I'll just search for you into the Shodan. And after that, one more question is that I'm actually doing my engineering now and learning regarding cybersecurity online. How can I get certified since I'm learning from YouTube mostly? I would request you right now, don't worry about the certifications, just look for your skills improvement. As soon as you will skills will be improved, later on you can go for the certification. Certification is the another aspects of the industry which is required, but what industry is more focused on how much skills you have learned. Okay, they pay for your skill, not for your certification, first thing. So I always say one thing, spend on you, I mean, invest in you rather than investing over you. Okay. So your time you need to spend in learning and upgrading yourself. Do the things which add a value to your career. When we access banking website, it displays lock icon for certificate SSL. Of course, they have to use this SSL. Can we assume the site to be safe when we see lock icon? Can fake site? Yes, of course. It's a good question from one of the candidates. Of course, that's what I was talking in my presentation, that when you are having a reverse proxy, in reverse proxy, attacker can deploy a SSL certificate, looks exactly similar to the banking websites or any, not banking website, or the same to the other websites. Okay, means a replica of that website. But in order to figure it out whether it is a legitimate website or not, click on that lock icon. I'll just show you an example in a live demonstration, uh, because this is important. This is a good question. Let's say over here I open a flipkart.com. Okay, in Flipkart, if I'll click on this padlock, the connection is secure. Even on the malicious website, you can get this connection is secure. But in order to get into this more information, click on the certificate. I think it's blocked by my antivirus. I'm not sure, but let's see. Okay, it's not blocked. See, now from where I'm getting the certificate is issued to www.flipkart.com. But when it comes to any malicious website, it might be a different thing over here. Okay, there will be a different name. So just remember this thing, you have to verify the certification path. If you go for Amazon or any other websites, you will be having this same kind of result. But if you go on any website which is having a third parties, definitely it will be, in some cases you might be having star.amazon.com, which apply to all their URLs and other stuff. But in this case, www.amazon.com. If I open amazon.in, that is for India. Certificate, so it will be .in. And in case of malicious website, I don't have any malicious website right now with SSL deployed. But I have a video on that. So no problem. You can just ping me. After that, I'll share the videos with you. Yes, I am having few questions. Yeah. So I believe that I have a 5 years of experience as a network engineer and had worked on multi-vendor firewalls. Oh, that's great. Like ASA, FortiGate, Palo Alto. I need to work in completely security field. What can you, man, you are already working with as a network security engineer. So I believe you have a extreme knowledge because you are dealing with these security devices, configuring policies on ASAs, FortiGate and Palo Alto. So my recommendation for you is to just go for program which is offered by Offensive Security. But before jump into that program, you need to understand about something related to web application security, endpoint securities. I believe you need to spend 1 month or 1.5 months to go through this program because you are already a working professional. So for you, it's not quite difficult to understand because you have a deep dive understanding into the security. And after that, you can go for OSCP program, which is a very good highest level of certification in IT industry as a cybersecurity. What are the basics things we can do to secure our network? If you are asking this question for a corporate level, or if you are asking this question for a home network, if you are asking this for a home network, then always use WPA2. And if there are limited number of devices and you don't have guests keeps on coming in, you can enable MAC address filtering as well. And you can reduce the size of a DHCP pool, and you can regularly check your wireless network, how many devices are connected and those devices are familiar to this or not. Exploit database site is for exploit attack or defense. Definitely it's for testing purpose. It is for, you do not need to use this exploit on the real environment or a live environment. This website is basically provide us the exploit for testing purpose. Okay, you can go and read the disclaimer. Whether so a search engine, of course, Shodan search engine is available in the Chrome. I use Microsoft Edge for this. You can use any web browser. Will you please highlight on best and secure way of validating domain name certificates? Domain name certificates. I mean, you are talking about, if I'm not wrong, you are talking about SSL over here. Osman? Okay. I think my domain is not, I'm not that much experience. I don't have that much expertise in domain related to the domain because I'm not working to, most of the time with development time. But still, I would suggest you can use Let's Encrypt. Okay. I mean, if you are asking how to get it, okay, validating domain name certificates, Let's Encrypt, you can use in this. Basic cybersecurity, what website? I mean, CS Shuhaib Akhtar. I don't get your question. I mean, over here you are asking me how to start for cybersecurity. You need a website for learning purpose. Okay, he's not responding. How can we how can we be sure on tiny URL that is from authorized source? Okay, that's another good question. You can use, is it fish.org? I think, is it phishing? There is a website, is it phishing.org? If you get any URL from any untrusted source, you can use this website. Let's say for an example, www.facebook.com. I'm just using, okay. Sorry, I just made a mistake. Facebook.com, and let's check. So you will be getting over here a green sign, and if the website is having a phishing link or any malicious link, definitely you will be getting a red sign over here. So before visiting any URL, just copy paste your URL into this website, and you can figure it out. The website you are means you have to be redirected. Is it a legitimate website or it's a malicious website? So you said you are going to start a new batch for cybersecurity for freshers. When we can explain, definitely we have a plan to start from 5th of December. Rest of the details will be shared to you as early as possible. Could you please put some highlight on HI and PI in website? Could you please be more specific about this? Hello, I'm working as an IT service desk analyst and want to grow in cybersecurity. Okay, you can start your career with in basics fundamentals, then you can go for Microsoft server administrator, system administrator, and then you can learn for Red Hat, and then you can start with CEH. Then after CEH, there are so many certifications available in the IT world. You can go for offensive certifications, you can go for EC Council certifications. Okay, and if you want to go for let's say high-end certification, then you can go for sense certifications, which is offensive security, and sense certifications are a prestigious brand in IT industry. And after that, yep, PPT will be shared. Whether online banking is their official website is safe or not. Look, website they provide you is safe and secure. They must be most of the banking website have a standard and a general guidelines issued from the government of India. I mean, those who is taking care, the department which is taking care of these things, they issued a guideline that they have to use uh, encryption of this much amount. Like, let's say this is the encryption algorithm they have to use, and up to this bit of encryption they have to use. So definitely these banking website are very much secured, and I usually do the online banking, but always check the URL. Okay, don't think if it is having a padlock sign and a banking website name, it is safe and secure. So please make sure before opening any website, or if you are getting anything from the email from the bank, please don't do this. Always type the things from your keyboard: www.axisbank.com, HSBC, XYZ. Yeah, we have something called digital signature also. Of course, we have digital signatures with digital signature for verifications. I think in the month of March, or in the end of February, there was a complete session on digital signature was conducted by Hafiz Saab, Dr. Mizahuddin Saab. So that was, he is the expertise of that specific domain. He's into cryptography and digital signature, and he delivered one of the presentations and entire session on this digital signature. But yes, we do have digital signature for verifying the authenticity and integrity. Basically, it's a complete platform. I mean, not a platform. Basically, it gives me an assurance, the things between the sender and the receiver. If someone try to make any changes into it, definitely that digital signature will become invalid. Okay. If I grab a cyber security courses and later do certificate, will I be eligible for a job without? Of course you can, you are. Definitely, the thing is you need to develop skills. That's the most important thing. Certification is not the big thing. The industry asks for the knowledge, problem solving, how much problem you can solve for them. This session was informative. Okay. Nowadays, many YouTube ads giving shopping site which with valid SSL certificate with 1 week or 3 month validity. How can be sure is it a valid site in case some money pay? Why you pay for the money? Use Let's Encrypt. Use a free open source na Let's Encrypt. You can use a free SSL certificates. Why you go for this one? And Let's Encrypt is used by so many big shots in the industry. Yeah. So let's encrypt free SSL TLS certificate. Why you need to worry for your domain? See, major sponsors. And after this, I'm working in IT infrastructure maintenance. I need special training in semantic and Sophos endpoint security. Okay. Endpoint security. This is a specific domain. So right now we have a plan to start for cyber security. But definitely we'll keep a mark for you. And we have, yeah, I'm working in support domain. I said I completed CH and want to switch my domain into cyber security. What job roles offer I can apply for? You can apply as a, right now you already completed CEH. You have a experience with working into network cyber security, like you have completed CEH and what's your university? You are a graduate or postgraduate? Backend server is open or not. Definitely you need to make up port scan, which are the ports is often open or not. And definitely when the server is configured in the network, there are so many when server is in the network, definitely there is a what it is called complete dashboard of which devices is trying to access this server from a remote IP or from an internal IP. They have a complete, overview of that. They use a network protocols, okay, network protocol analyzer, somewhat similar to Wireshark. I'm not saying Wireshark they use in an organization, but they have their own custom tools inside their network, or they have they have the industry tools like Nagios for monitoring of the entire networks, and other they have some what it is called. I would say they have so many monitoring softwares, monitoring servers running into their network. So they have a complete idea which remote IP is trying to access your which server and which part of a network. So they have this thing. And so many questions related to cybersecurity. Which OS is as a best as in security, Windows or Linux based? Basically, Parrot is very good, and Kali Linux is one of the two platforms available for penetration testings and learning these things. Why I recommend this, because things you can go with Windows as well, no issues into that. But in Linux, most of the tools are available already pre-installed. When it comes to Windows, you need to additionally download those tools, and with the help of Linux based tools, you can directly interact with the command line, which is very much a superb thing for learners. And these Kali Linux and Parrot operating system is basically designed keeping in mind for cyber security engineers, penetration testers, and for these people. So my recommendation is you can go for the Linux base, that is a Kali Linux, or you can go for a Parrot. But if you are a new beginner, you can go for Kali Linux. Which is better, do banking with bank website or bank app? You can do from banking from the bank website, or you can go with the banking app, no problem. The only thing is that you should make sure that your system is not infected with the malware or any virus. So either you go for a banking website or bank app, then your password will be keystroked by the keylogger and will be delivered to the malicious hacker. So you can go for bank website or bank app. Just make sure your device is completely free from viruses and malwares, especially Emotet, banking Trojan. Why Google Pay or other application is not safe? Who says Google Pay or other application is not safe? I hadn't read any article. If you have some article related to that, could you please share with me? Job references. You drop us an email regarding that. I'm searching from past year. Can you help me? Okay. Private and public keys will be exchanged when transaction happen. Now in advance using digital certifications binding with public and private keys, those will work based on CIA triangle. Um, I somewhat understand your question, but what you over here you are actually trying to deliver me. Okay. I'm currently working as a NOC engineer. I have completed my CCNA ASA training. How can I start my career in security domain? Now you have completed your network fundamental, start for Red Hat, then go for CEH. You have completed your firewall training, IPS, IDS. Okay, cool. I'm working as a VM engineer. I'm into cyber security. I am interested in cyber security career. You can start your working as a VM engineer. So you can start with a certified ethical hacking. That is the first certification, or you can go for CompTIA security essentials. These are security certifications available to start as a fresher. Yes. Yes, all of you now tell me. I have delivered a lot of questions and queries and the presentation. Okay, this program we have designed for 1 hour with keeping in the mind we need to deliver you the overview about cyber security together with career guidance. And now Dr. Saif Saab is present in the webinar.
Yes, sir, at your service.
Thank you. So this we have designed so that, because it's not like everyone over here attending the presentation. Definitely I believe some of the candidates attend this presentation are from the professionals working into the industry like 4 years or 5 years. So for them it's quite easy if I deliver some technical things, if I want to demonstrate something. But we have to keep the the level of this webinar with a mixed audience, because we have some college graduates, we have undergraduates, we have working professionals. So the main motive of this webinar was to deliver you highlight an overview about cybersecurity and how you can start your path into a cybersecurity, and what are the domains in cybersecurity available. Okay, might be because people might be having one thing, okay, in cybersecurity I will be working as an ethical hacker, that's it. No, this is not, this is a myth. The fact is there are so many domains. You can work as a network engineer, you can work as a network security engineer, you can work as a penetration tester, you can work as a malware analyst, you can work as a endpoint engineer, you can work as a firewall engineer. These are few of the job profile which I'm discussing you. There are so many profiles which is right in front of you in cybersecurity domain.
I think there is one more question. Saibhai, can you
Which
take
one?
that?
Which one?
The latest one. One came new.
Oh, the what is sniffing and spoofing.
Yeah.
Basically, they are brother from another mother. Sniffing and spoofing. Basically, sniffing means, let's say, you installed a CCTV camera in your home, and you are looking who is coming out and who is coming inside your network. I mean, inside your home. Sorry. So that is sniffing. No one is aware that you are looking to them. That is sniffing. So similarly, if any attacker is in your network and he is just sniffing your network, means whatever the packet is going out and whatever the packet is coming in, he's sniffing those things. Means he's only looking, the request is going from source to this destination and the request is coming from this destination to this source. But spoofing is something like pretending to be someone else. I believe I'm not sure whether I should speak up this thing or not. This is against the something, but there is a movie in Hollywood that is a Mission Impossible. Okay, there was a Tom Cruise was playing a character of different. Whenever he wants to get into some department, he just use a disguise of a chief minister or a president or XYZ person. Okay, but in fact, he's actually the what it is called secret agent. He always use a disguise. So similarly in spoofing, what it is done, uh, it's pretending to be someone else. Let's say you get a mail from facebook.com. It seems to be like it is coming from a facebook.com, but it is not from facebook.com. If you allow me a minute, I can show you that one. I have a presentation on sniffing and spoofing. Yeah. So with the live thing, you would be able to understand sniffing and spoofing. Yeah. Now you can see over here, I have an email from Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. But in fact, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't send me a message. I mean, I email to me. In fact, it was sent by a third party or any cyber criminal with the help of some, online scripts for email spoofing. So he delivered me a mail with the name of Mark Zuckerberg. Means this is a small example of spoofing. Similarly, you can get a phone call from your father phone number. It seems to be your father is calling, but a call will be generated by a third party. Okay, means an attacker is making a phone call on your number. So this is how I'm tracking. This is the I mean the IP addresses and all the things which I actually figure it out after tracking. This is the past company which I worked in, like 2016. So similarly over here, you can see White House. I'm getting an email from Barack Obama. Okay, so this is an spoofing attack. Now similarly in your inbox, you can have an email from facebook.com asking for you to change your password, and attacker might be attach a phishing link into that. Okay, so that's an spoofing attack. I hope I answered your question. Of course, SHA 256 is more secured. MD5 is already discarded by the industry because of some of the loopholes figured it out in MD5. So that is why SHA is in the industry now. A live attack example. Okay, let's go for a spoofing attack. If I have my email server configured or not, let's see. Yeah. So let me open my mail. Okay, this is my email account. And right now I don't have any email into my email account. Okay, so from name, let's take, just give me any name, random name. Okay, let's take MFIRD. Okay. And from email, anyone wants to share their email address? Okay, just give me a random email address of yours, but it should be an email address exist. Okay.
Gmail.com.
Okay, I got into a chat. I just copied that one and then just pasting. So this is the email from which I need to get a email in my inbox. So over here, two email to whom I want to send. This is my email 3ihackers@gmail.com, and subject, let's say password reset request. Hi, please click on the link below to reset the password. Okay, and attacker can attach a link over here. Right now I'm not attaching because I need to create one thing, malicious link. Just I'm delivering this mail, and this mail has been sent. And let's see. Yeah, we get a mail from MFIRD, just a name,
and inside mail there is an email ID of Sayyad p098@gmail.com. Is this your picture? I believe. So I don't have access to your email I don't have access to your email account, but still triggering the vulnerability which resides inside itself email servers. I use that vulnerability and I spoof the email to 3ihackers.com using your email ID. Now the reply, if I'll send a reply, it will be to you. So similarly, if I have your company email address or company boss email address, I can directly type a mail putting a lot of bad words into it, and I can draft to your boss, and the next day you will get a resignation letter. Sorry, it's not a resignation letter. You will be terminated from your organization. That's a jokes apart. So this is this is an example of a spoofing attack. So this is not.
Thanks for showing this attack, and I'm not going to open your emails from now on.
No, don't worry. This is not a very basic attack. It's atq.com. It's like SMTP server i.e centric. Basically, this is this is a vulnerability resides. Okay, what means it is not checking actually inside the scenario. If I'll just go, definitely the person who is more expert into it, definitely in a couple of minutes he can figure it out that this is an spoofing attack, because there is a one factor you need to understand over here. Sorry, I cannot show you the website because that's my own custom server. Sorry about that. But that is because I use for some testing purposes. Otherwise, if you will keep on sending the emails, it will block by the web server. So over here, if you see the D mark is filled, if the mail is coming from an original resource, it will always be into the pass. Okay, that is like someone was talking about digital signature. It is somewhat related to that technique. Okay, so if it is not pass, then it means definitely it's a spoofed mail. So means identity is not getting confirmed. All right. Now, if we look into any another mail, okay, if I go and check this one, see over here it is pass because it is coming from an original mail, original source. The sender of this source is a legitimate person who is sending me this mail, but in that case it would be a fake source. So this is how we can figure it out. There are many methods, but still most of the people fall in this trap. The mail is coming from a legitimate source and they end up compromising, giving their username and passwords and all that. Yes, please now. Hello.
I think in the interest of time, we can close this session.
Yeah, of course.
We can have multiple sessions like this in future, plan accordingly. So first thing is that this recording will be available. I have already given the link where the recording will be uploaded. It's tinyurl.com/mfird. So all the past webinars are also present in that. So you can go through that, all of them, and they're extremely relevant and useful to the industry. And this will also be uploaded in a few days' time, inshallah.
The video, no? I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The complete video and all the question answer sessions. And another thing is that, as Brother Seth mentioned, we are planning about start a introduction to cybersecurity course. It's going to be a fast-paced crash course, so that let's say in 4 or 5 weeks, one is able to get all the fundamentals of cybersecurity. And then once that course is finished, the basics are covered. Then depending on the interest, different people can take different streams. As Brother Saf said, it is an ocean, cybersecurity, and there are so many things to cover. So we can start with the basics course so that everyone is understands the basics of cybersecurity, and depending on their interest, they can choose different fields going forward. So inshallah, in few days, we'll be announcing this course formally. So all of those who are interested in learning the basics of cybersecurity, they can just type yes in the chat box, and we'll keep you in loop, inshallah, for that. So that's going to happen soon, inshallah, because we see that there's lots of need, and there is a need from industry also, and people are also interested, and we have such a good trainers and experts in cybersecurity. We have one more brother who is an international expert in cybersecurity. So these two will be the prime trainers for the course that will be launching soon. So if you are interested in attending that course, just let us know, and we'll do something useful for all of us, inshallah. So anything else, Brother Saif, you want to add? Or Shahid Bhai, do you have anything more to add?
Sabai, when can we start this course, Cybersecurity Basics?
We are planning in, let us say, in 4 or 5 days. We are just finalizing the formalities. So it should be pretty soon, inshallah. When do you expect it to be?
I am ready to join as soon as possible, whenever the course starts.
Yeah, so we are also trying as soon as possible and getting all the things finalized and smoothened up.
Mhm.
So
Sabai,
inshallah,
you are located, you are residing in Bangalore?
yes, I'm at your service in Bangalore. Yes, I'm in Bangalore.
Okay.
All the brothers, please make dua also that we are able to start this useful course so that it is helpful to everyone, inshallah.
Sir, if at all we have any queries or something in the future, can we have your contact details to contact you? Any stuff like that?
Contact details are given on the screen.
Okay.
It's right in
Bhai,
front of it.
for you.
Sorry?
Contact details are for you.
Yeah, it's already right in front of the screen because I was getting confused because there are two SAF. That's why I was like, for whom this question is to.
You're the expert. I'm just at the service.
Those who wants to communicate, they can have my email number and email address and my phone number available on the slide. So if you have any queries related to the programs or anything for your career advice, career guidance, you can drop me a mail or drop me a WhatsApp message. All right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Dr. Saif Saab. Hello.
Ji, Saib bhai.
Yeah, I shared you the link. I believe you have already checked the one which is having our presentations.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Yeah, if it's a public link, if you can share with the candidates, that is also feasible. And if you want to download and upload on Drive and you want to share, that's totally up to you.
Public link you can put in the chat box also right now.
Okay.
I was mentioning about the recorded session.
So all of you, I have shared a link. This is the link for presentation. You can access this link and you can download the presentation which was used to deliver the webinar.
Okay, I think we can close. Thanks to all the participants. And once we start the course, I would like if those who are interested, they can join, as well as please try to bring others also, because it's going to be useful to everyone. And any act of kindness that we do to others is also counted as a charity. So please try to help others also if they are interested in attending the course. Okay, Saf, thanks
Okay,
a lot
Dr. You're
for taking
welcome.
out.
Jazakallah.
And the participants, thanks a lot for attending and making this a very useful and interactive session.
Thank you. Thanks everybody. Thanks everyone for your valuable time and for joining and attending the session. And I believe we'll see you in our upcoming program. Let's see how many of you will be joining that program. All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Sabai, that URL is not opening. That tinyurl.com/mfid. Hello. Sabai, am I audible?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Sabai, put these slides.
Your voice is breaking.
tinyurl.com/mfid, right?
Yeah.
But it's not opening. It's showing some error.
I think it's wrong.
tinyurl.com/mfid.
It is MFIRD.
MF.
IRD.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, Sabai.
You're welcome.